Yeah, not much action there. The Lena's going to clear out the creep wave. So the DK, maybe early levels. Lena level 1 to 2 has a bit of a better time. Once you hit level 3 with level 2 Dragon Blood for the DK, not going to be easy to zone him out. He's going to have enough to play with to just stick to lane, breathe fire, maybe get the Dragon Tail out in the range creep, and still gain some EXP. So for Motivate.Trust, I think playing against a DK means that you do want to prioritize runes for yourself. Kind of want to just keep grabbing the rune for the Lina. For the DK, it's not as important for him to grab. The supports can just kind of commit to grabbing the runes away, and DK's pretty alright with that, even though an early bottle is valuable. And in that front, I think the supports you out better there. Lion plus Nyx can rotate towards likely our offlane hero for Force. To love playing with. You know, it's the old adroit. You can easily go for something like a last pick PA if it out. I think Polaris will just go in that direction. Gives Battle Fury timing on PA around. You can kind of skip it. You don't tend to, but you can just opt out for it. Rush a Desolator, rush a BKB, and have some early presence. Motivate.Trust, they do go with a Raid King, which is a bit more one of those heroes for Jackie that's a bit more tempo based, right? Safe lane Raid King does have some early spikes. Armlet's really strong, and you kind of just run around there, get some push going with the skeletons come through. So the tempo is a bit earlier on the Raid King. It does scale a bit towards the late game, but it does take a lot more items, whereas the Lina doesn't take as much. So the late game spike for the Lina is a bit earlier, and it can kind of relieve that pressure if the game does go ultra late.
Okay, fair enough. Apologies to the viewers, by the way, John. I believe the internet was playing up there for a minute or so, but it looks like it has stabilized. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll make sure it doesn't play up tonight of all nights. Polaris, one more ban. Motivate.Trust, their own ban to go. Very interesting drafts to come out. So it could be a very entertaining game one between these two teams. Polaris, I mean, it does feel like they need maybe just a safe lane here, though. The Dragon Knight, Magnus, they are both very flexible, so it is pretty hard to tell exactly where they want to go. I am still thinking mid DK, off lane Magnus, and just get a safe lane for Natsumi, but see if he does want to go down that route. So they have 5 seconds reserve time left for this final pick, so not much time at all to try and finish off this draft here for Polaris.
Yeah, they've got the option for Troll. We've seen Natsumi take that hero out a couple of times before, and they've got the Magnus as well. You can itemize for Diffusal to deal with the Raid King early on. That could be one way for Polaris to kind of play their own momentum draft here, and it is the Troll pickup. So Empower on Troll, really strong. Diffusal build-up counteracts the Raid King. You do have good burst from Motivate.Trust and decent enough chain stuns with Alina, Dawnbreaker, and Silencer, even Raid King with his Red Fire Blast. So you can kind of pin that Troll down before he can get his Battle Trance off, but it's a tricky thing to do. There's a lot of control from Polaris. If you kind of clump up too much, an RP into Earth Spike and Impale is pretty devastating here from Polaris.
Oh, it certainly is. I mean, it's going to be a lot of damage output, a lot of control here from Polaris Esports, and I've got to say their draft altogether just looks very nice. I don't usually have much faith in the Troll Warlord, but again, Natsumi has played it. I think it was yesterday, and he just looked fantastic on it. So with an Empower there as well from his mag, you can only expect better things here from Natsumi. Motivate.Trust, though, Masaros is currently lacking a hero unless he wants to take the Dawnbreaker. They've got 25 seconds reserve time, but no, he's going to take the Pango. Very good against the Troll Warlord, especially during that Battle Trance. You can disarm him, you can commit the Rolling Thunder, just kind of perma-stun him up. Makes enough sense to go down the Pango route. Overall, though, John, I mean, both drafts, a little bit different to what we're used to seeing between these two teams. Do you have a favorite draft here? Do you favor one over the other?
I'd lean towards Polaris. I think when you give these guys a Magnus, they know how to play around it. They have really good control from their supports, and that should mean that, you know, Mavis and Xavius should be able to rotate mid, steal away the Water Rune, steal away the Power Rune. It's not as important for Lelouch to put his body forward there. You can just hold the lane and keep clearing out. It's Gotcha Boy who needs to get control of the Water Runes, and his own supports rotations, they're all right. But I think it's a lot stronger for Polaris to dictate that early game. And the scaling, the power spikes into mid game's a lot faster for Polaris. With the Empower on the Magnus going to Troll. Again, that Diffusal timing for Natsumi, it's going to be devastating for Jackie. He's not going to be able to show up early on. So I think Polaris does have the edge here on draft.
Okay, I mean, I was kind of going the other way here. I thought Motivate had the edge on, but you know, you're the guy that gets asked the hard questions here, so we'll go with your opinion here on Polaris Esports. It is a best of 3 lower bracket final, so a lot on the line for either side. One of these teams has to go home, but at least they have secured top 3. But naturally, you don't want to be third or second. You'd rather be first if you can. And like you said, John, Polaris, they were famous for these Magnus plays, so I'm looking very forward to seeing what they get done. As we should be getting into Game 1 very, very soon. Looks like we did have a bit of a disconnection before the draft did end. So, see how long this draft screen is going to drag out, John.
I can't help but laugh because we were having a discussion in lobby, Mike, before you came in about name changes. So
Right.
they came to the realization. Fearless came to the realization that he's stuck with Gotcha Boy for 1 full year.
Oh.
Everyone's stuck with these names for a year. You know, Jackie's Jack Boys for a year. Masaros is now Masa. You know, there was a funny line because it's like a political line in the Philippines. Masa is like masses. So I said Masa para sa masa. It's I don't know. You know, and for Polaris, they're stuck with all these weed names for a year. We're gonna have Mavis for a year, Lelouch for a year, Force for a year, Xavius for a year, and Xavius was like, "Oh, Force for a year. This is pain."
Why are they stuck though? What happened for them
They
to be
can't
stuck?
change it. Like once you register on the DPC, you can't change that info until the DPC entire tour ends. All tours end. So
Amazing.
you're stuck with that across each season.
Oh, what do you do? Well, position in the mid lane. Looks like Polaris realized Motivate. We're going to go for the 5-man smoke to get the Observer Ward down. They don't end up getting an Observer Ward down at this point. They will just hold out for now. To Polaris. I mean, they've seen this many times from many, many teams now, just rushing the mid lane with that 5-man smoke. Instead, they'll get the Observer Ward on the right side of that mid lane for Motivate. Do they go for a level 1 fight? Feels like these level 1 fights could go either way in this occasion between these drafts, but Polaris, I feel like they've got a slightly stronger level 1 timing with their own draft.
Yeah, I think the double AoE stuns from Polaris are a lot stronger. Then down to those 2 supports, Lion and Nyx on the same team, Earth Spike and Impale. Lots of control early on. You don't really want to force the issue. Looks like both sides will play it safe. Just grab each side's bounty runes and head off the lane. So not too much excitement there, but it does give us some time to survey how the lanes will break out. Xavius already showing early on in the top lane, dropping a ward in the jungle just to prevent any sort of stacks from coming through. He is going to be laning around with Force on that mag, and they are up against Jack Boys on his Raid King.
Oh.
We have seen Jackie play that multiple
Just
times.
call him
And
Jackie,
Boom
John.
Boy
Go on.
and Boom Bell on his Silencer. So Raid King Silencer dual lane can be pretty aggressive. Silencer tends to have fun up against these melee matchups, and both the heroes in the offlane are melee. So Boom Boy can just run around, use the last word, use the Arcane Curse, maybe even an Orb Walk with Blades of Wisdom, but that will take levels for the Silencer. Early on, Force should be able to secure some steady CS. It's really by the level 2, level 3 spike where you might see Motivate.Trust go a bit more offensive, and for the side of Polaris, they're going to have to play it solo. You're already seeing Xavius pull out the creep wave. He tends to do this for himself no matter what pause fort he plays. He always kind of wants to hit his level 2 early on before making anything happen on map.
Yeah, but Boom Boo's going to meet him up in the middle and just kind of block the large camp, get the creeps to meet. Force, he's going to have a bit of a rough time here trying to farm this up as Jackie getting very aggressive already on that Wraith King. In the meantime, though, we'll have a look at the other lanes, of course. Mid lane, Lelouch going to be against Gotcha Boy, a.k.a. Fearless. This lane, I imagine, will be quite boring, John. A pretty defensive kind of lane between the two. Yeah, maybe a bit of harassment here from either side, but chances are nobody's dying.
No, I mean, you're just going to be farming up, building up. You know, once Lelouch hits level 3, level 2 Dragon Blood, not going to be under threat. But Gotcha Boy also has the range to just avoid a lot of the spell spam from Lelouch as well. This is a pretty interesting lane, and outside mechanics, although.
Yeah, Masteros dies. I'm not sure how that happened. He was out of range. I looked away for a second, and apparently he went back into range. So Natsumi does clean him up. That'll be the first death on the map here for Polaris, and Masteros, he's the one to drop. Speaking of Masteros, his laning stage has not been good this far. He's sitting at 6 CS. Obviously, against the Troll Lion, it's a pretty rough affair to try and fight into this duo. Even with Q around on the Dawnbreaker, there's not really too much he can get done as long as Natsumi just keeps his distance away from that Dawnbreaker. Yeah, for now, Natsumi, he's having a really nice time.
I don't think you can really zone out that troll here. You have to deal with all the counter control from Mavis when he comes in with the Earth Spike. You're also double melee on the side of Motivate.Trust here, so Mavis has a really easy time lining up the control if you do overcommit.
Yeah, I mean, top lane Boom Bowie able to clean up Xavier's to boot on that Nyx. It's another nice pick off this time for Motivate. Both side lanes starting to heat up a little bit. We talked about Masaros not having a good time, but I could say the exact same thing for Force. I don't think he's having the greatest time either.
Yeah, but the back and forth between the Pango and the Magnus does have an easier time in the jungle. She can kind of clear out the camps fairly quick on that Pango, but the Magnus just has so much more potential there with the Empower.
That is a lot of damage, Mr. Xavius. He's going to drop again. Boom Bowie finding his second solo pick off on Xavius and now gives him the tip over. Xavius, he was fighting very confidently there against Boom Bowie, but just underestimated the Arcane Curse and Last Word damage.
And for Xavius, he's going to need level 2 up soon. I think he might even just opt for Mana Burn to start burning down that silencer, take away his mana, so you can just play the lane. As long as Boom Boy has spells up, again, it's a dual melee lane up against silencer. You're not going to have a good time. You can't zone out this hero, and he'll always kind of win out that harass war there.
Mid lane, Lelouch starting to drop low. Boom Bowie to get a bit more aggressive here in that mid, but there is a Berserker Ward watching his rotation. We'll still be able to secure the water rune though for Fearless, so everything fine. In the meantime, Masaros again dropping very low on the Pango. Forced to continue to swashbuckle away, and with Natsumi, he's really not allowing the Pangolin to get anywhere near this creep wave. And Q having to rotate back in to salve up Masaros. This offlane for Motivate just still looking pretty darn bad, but Natsumi, he's going to get jumped now by Q. Just be the immediate combo there with the Celestial Hammer and the Starbreaker, but that'll be about it. They can't really follow up on it.
No, they don't have enough mana on Masaros. You're seeing Mavis just be a complete nuisance lane going for a 1-1-1 build. So every time they show up, he just mana drains, keeps you at 0. And if you can't cast your spells here in a Pango, you don't really have much presence. You rely on that shield crash, you rely on the swash to get your harassment off and to clear out the wave. Masaros just doesn't have much to do, and he might have to rely on some catch-up for him down the line. Like, there's not much relief Q can bring, because he lands the combos, there's no follow-up stun, there's no real follow-up damage. They're not that bursty in this lane for Motivate.Trust just yet.
That they are not. Top lane Force is going to be able to skewer just in the nick of time. He had the Arcane Curse in the Last Word, and the Wraithfire Blast just did not reach in time to cancel that skewer. Very lucky for him. Both position 1s on either side having a very good time in their respective safe lanes. Well, mid lane, there's a bit of a party going on now. It's a 3v3 here. Xavier's trying to sneak up from behind, but Boom Booey's going to be there to join. Who's going to make the jump in first? Well, they do see the silencer now, and I think Polaris, they do not feel comfortable to keep going. So they'll both back off on the supports. In this mid lane, well, it still does have people here. It is still pretty boring between the two, as you really can't find a kill. Nobody can initiate.
No. And I think that does provide some relief to the side lanes, especially for the off laners. The safe laners aren't being zoned out. You are still ahead here on Natsumi compared to Jackie, but at the very least now, your off lane can maybe find a little bit more solo EXP and start to build up. I don't think you can really commit onto the DK. So for Motivate.Trust, looks like you're just trying to give their own support some levels on mid, trying to get Q to hit that level 5 mark where it feels a lot better, try to rush Boom Boys levels into 6 as well. But again, there's just not much you can really do with your supports against a DK. We saw some spells being thrown out by Boom Boy. With the Dragon Blood as high as it is now on Lelouch, it actually doesn't even do any damage. That Arcane Curse DOT, it just does nothing.
Wow. Very balanced, very good to hear, John. Xavier's now scouting out Boom Boy in the dire triangle, or rather dire jungle, but just some stacks being made. He's not going to make his way over. Just uninterested. At least know that the stacks are slowly being built up now as... I wonder who this favors. Like, it's been a pretty passive game so far, just 1 to 2 7 minutes in. Do you give the advantage to Polaris or Motivate in this kind of farming game?
I'd give it towards Polaris. Again, you're building up, you're playing slower against a Magnus draft with a Troll and a DK. And eventually, both the Troll and the DK can farm really fast with the Empower. Even the Magnus is going to hit that Blink timing, go into maybe the Force Staff or Guardian Greaves for durability, and run from there. Saying that though, Mavis.
They're going to get caught here. Masteros should have enough, and in fact, Fearless is going to come in. Just get the last right click in on the Lina, so nice bit of bonus gold for him. Meanwhile, towards the mid lane, they have found Boom Booey. He's going to try and stick charge and survive through this with the Fairy Fire out. He might make it. In fact, now the rotations. In fact, no. He does die underneath the tier 2 tower, but they might get Lelouch as a nice trade here as he is just trying to run, but is going to drop. So a pretty nice trade up for Motivate.Trust. And Polaris, I mean, it felt a bit desperate diving that far into that tier 2 tower, and they do get punished.
Yeah, it all boils down to how low level Xavius is right now. If he did have a value point in mana burn, you might have had enough damage to find that kill. But our Nyx is really starved. Even Mavis on the lines ahead of that Nyx, so they need to get some space out to get the EXP flowing here to hit that Vendetta time and start running out. Xavius though under a sentry.
Gonna find the stun out. Won't matter. Sentry. It's gonna be too late when they notice as Q is still trying to run. It might actually make it out, but no, Natsumi, he's gonna be there. Will secure the kill. Problem is though, Fearless is right behind him with the Laguna Blade. Natsumi, he has no battle trance right now. He might just be set to fall and will. They got Xavius, they got Natsumi down. They even found the Lion. All they lost was Q on the Dawnbreaker. It's just really not a big deal here for Motivate.
And that's what we needed to see for Motivate.Trust. They needed to get some early aggression out with the damage they have on hand, with the Silencer, with the Dawnbreaker, with the Lina, and all her spells up. They needed to apply that pressure on the Troll, and they get some good punishment out. They have still secured their jungle stacks, their triangle is still safe. Jackie is still working towards that armlet, and you slow down Natsumi. I think for Polaris, they need to protect Natsumi. They can lose literally everyone else, but you have to keep that Troll up still. Trying to make a move up top.
Yeah, RP's out. They really want Jackie down. Reincarnation will be leveled up now, so he's got time to ask for rotations to come in. Masteros will be there. Rolling Thunder will fly out. There's still 4 heroes, but Masteros, he's going to pretty much stun everyone up. Jackie, he'll survive through the secondary life, as they might even dive now. Nice Rolling Thunder, but it will wear out. Boom Booey came in with a nice Arcane Curse to boot, but oh, actually that's a lot of damage up from Masteros. Mavis gonna drop. They do get something. In the end, I think they'll just be happy with the fact that Jackie managed to get himself out.
Yeah, it's not a good trade for Polaris. They don't find anything for their trouble, really. Just a reincarnation life. And at this point, Jackie can just play in that top jungle. No towers taken. So the jungle's still relatively safe for both sides, and that means our Raid King's just going to be uncontested while he builds into that armlet timing. For Polaris, they need to hit that diffusal timing on Natsumi. I think he's going to want the S and Y on top of that. He's going to need some stats to tank through the hits from the Lina, from the Raid King. There is still some good damage flowing out from these heroes without too much itemization. And Motivate.Trust, knowing that they got an opening from those kills, from the time they wasted from Polaris, are making moves down bot. Pushing that tier 1, DD up on Gotcha Boy. Not going to take too long to melt that objective with the right-click speed you have on the Lina at this point.
They'll get it. No problems here. Xavius, he's trying to pull the creep wave over, but it doesn't matter with the siege creep there. Fearless will just keep going. Same thing happening at the top lane though. Natsumi, he's going to be around on the Troll, so no real problem. Just a direct trade between the two teams. There is still a 2k net worth advantage though for Motivate, which may be a little bit concerning here for Polaris, but considering how well Natsumi's farming the Troll, he won't be too concerned. Again, no real aggression from either side. They're just accepting the fact that they just want to farm. Polaris, they'll take their jungle. Motivate will do the same on the other side of the map. You do have the diffusal blade coming out though on Natsumi, so it might be about that time to try and make a big play out. Same goes for Motivate. They do have the armlet now on Jackie. Mind you, he doesn't have reincarnate for 70 seconds, so he might want to wait. I wonder if Natsumi wants to go with this diffusal blade or whether we expect him to farm a bit more.
I think you'd want to wait for that little bit more farm. Still down mid, Lelouch.
Now Mavis has moved in with their Hex out and the stun, and in fact he avoids the Rolling Thunder, but Jackie's rushing with Masteros. They are eventually going to land a stun out. It's not going to be enough damage though to kill anyone off, as now Masteros, he's out of position. Skewer back from Force into the RP. And that should mean a nice easy Pango kill. So he really wanted to get that Lion down, but just did not have enough damage.
They were a bit split in their focus there. At first, they were trying to chase down Lelouch on the back. They changed gears and tried to go for the Lion instead, and it doesn't pan out. Now Gotcha Boy's all alone top.
Yeah, Lelouch going to make the jump in on Fearless. Impal's going to land very nicely there from Xavius, but they do have the Solar Guardian. It's going to make it in time to boot. The Spike Carapace was not out fast enough. As Q, he will chase down Xavius. Starbreaker's there, but it will not land the stun. In fact, now Lelouch is going to try and turn, but realizes Fearless is still behind, so won't go too much further. But that was a very nice Solar Guardian coming up from Q to save the day.
Yeah, just a bit late in the Spike Carapace there from Xavius. I think he just got it off cooldown and just got enough mana right at the last tick. So didn't manage to cancel it off. The healing was enough to keep Gotcha Boy up, and that's where you see the strength of that Dawnbreaker. It just provides a global presence, and you already have that early Holy Locket for Q as well. So the healing is amped up very early on, and it just gets a bit difficult for Polaris. They need to be really mindful of their Spike Carapace use here to win out these trades, as the Dawnbreaker can just show up at any moment. Still, 2K lead running for Motivate.Trust off the back of these missed opportunities for Polaris, but you are still farming up in the troll. You're still behind the Raid King. So there's still a slight net worth lead here for Jackie, working the map a little bit better with the skeletons, but once you hit this BKB timing and Natsumi, that's when you really get things into gear.
Xavius right now just kind of scouting out Fearless and Q. Lelouch is around. They probably would love to make a jump in on the Lina. But with that Observer Ward, they have plenty of information of that high ground, so Xavius will slowly move up, set up onto the Lina, but no, in fact, they might have to just go after Q. Lelouch, he was a bit too late to the party. Still Fearless setting up to try and fight back, and Masros, he'll even TP into the outpost. Does he commit the Rolling Thunder? Oh, that's a nice Earth Spike out. I'll make sure that nobody is able to continue this chase. Motivate, I mean, they'll take the jungle back over. In the meantime, though, Jackie, he's been caught out. Skewer back into that tier 1 tower, and Natsui can get right to work. RP, though, not going to make it out. The Global Silence was there in time, so Jackie is fine. In fact, Boom Bowie, he does clean up Xavius. And Fearless makes it in time to or at least get aggressive onto that tier 1 mid tower. I'm very surprised Jackie actually got away from this.
Yeah, it's a close call. Really good use of that Global Silence coming out from Boom Boy. And that is a very long cooldown that's down now, though. And Polaris, they didn't have to pop RP. It's still up and running. It's a bit difficult for Force to find the angles. He does not have the blink up yet. He opted to go for the early mech to sustain. So it'll be a bit longer until Polaris can really get the jump with the mag. We're going to have to rely more on their support duo and the DK with a blink up to isolate a hero. They do have the finger up, so Lelouch and Mavis can maybe find an opportunistic pick-off. The issue is no one's showing on the side of the map they're standing in.
Motivate, playing rather defensively. Polaris trying to move into that mid tier 1 tower, but not really willing to commit here. Neither one really pulling the trigger. And Natsumi's still just trying to keep up here with Jackie on that Wraith King. Just about 600 gold behind. In fact, who they found there? It's going to be Q on the Dawnbreaker, but again, he's got help there from Boom Bowie, and now the Solar Guardian. That will be cancelled off, but it won't matter. They get a nice Impale. They make sure there's no chase to come, but they have at least found Xavius. In fact, they might still find Mavis, but no. They are fine. They'll both TP out. They'll only lose the Nyx Assassin. But Polaris, I mean, unless they commit with 5, it seems like Motivate is going to respond every single time. They continue to just kind of give up these heroes just one at a time and not really find much on the map.
Yeah, they're constantly losing Xavius. I think the Nyx is going to have a really tough game ahead. Still stuck at level 7. At this point, your Lion might take farm priority for the Blink Rush. They are buying space out for Natsumi. Again, that BKB timing for our Troll. Very important for him to kind of join these fights. And now he only lacks the Ogre Axe. So it's only about 1,000 gold away for Natsumi. And at that point, he can start to join in, contribute to these engagements. For Motivate.Trust, they're hitting really big spikes with Gotcha Boy and Jackie as well. Desolator up on Jackie. The next fight, if they win it, could lead into really early Roshan. And that can kind of set the tone. If you can't kill Red King twice over, you definitely can't kill him 3 times. You could even just pass the Aegis on the Gotcha Boy, and you'd have to deal with these 2 high damage heroes up front without too much counterplay. They just sort of lack the upfront damage. They need to kind of use their finger in a good way, get a really nice RP, and power up the troll, and have him just whack away to get some good cleave damage off.
Smoke up. Motivate.Trust, they're going to try for something. They'll see Force in that mid lane. That'll be a nice pick off if they can get it. Force, he'll get stunned immediately, and they should have some damage, but the skewer, not going to be enough. Laguna was there from Fearless. In fact, now Masteros looking for more. Is not going to find Mavis, but it won't matter. They'd rather the tier 1 mid tower. And with this going down, things should escalate in this game 1, as there is a bit more of a map to play on here for Motivate. Polaris are obviously still playing a rather defensive game here. But we are going to see the Roshan being forced now from Motivate, and they've got to fight this one out. They can't let this Roshan go down for free.
Yeah, they are fairly close. They're smoked up here in Polaris. They would love to have their Magnus to skewer RP, but they're just going to have to find different angles.
Yeah, Roshan getting very low though. Natsumi going to try and move in. He'll go on to Q. Starbreaker, or rather, Solar Guardian's going to be there for a little bit. In fact, he is still alive, but should eventually go down. And now Motivate, they aren't feeling confident. They'll try to get out. Roshan's so low though, they can't really leave it be, as now Fearless will move back in with the Light Tracker. He misses, and now the RP misses. Everything just being whiffed from either side. Still, Lelouch going to jump back in now onto Jackie. They'll at least find the Wraith King. He did not have Reincarnate, or the mana for it at the very least, as now Masteros ends up dropping. Jackie's going to buy back. A complete mess in this mid-river. Motivate still looking for a way back into this Roshan pit, but Lelouch trying to get a Dragon Tail stun off. Roshan getting started here. So they jump in, but Jackie, he'll be skewered back onto the high ground now. He has no TP, and he has no blink either. No way off this cliff. Force, he's just going to stand there and take his death as Natsumi and Lelouch. They'll go after the Roshan, and all Jackie can do is watch.
Oh my god.
At least he got front row seats, John. Got great seats there for Jackie, but it's a tough watch here for the Wraith King, and this will be a tieback as well. Just nothing the man can do on Polaris. They'll take the net worth lead for the first time this game, and boy, that's a rough old start for Motivators. Now the Rolling Thunder's here from Masteros. They're still going to try, but the Battle Trance is out from Natsumi. He'll just taste down the Rolling Thunder. In fact, never mind that, he'll go after Q instead. Another pick off there for the Troll Warlord. They get the tier 1 mid, and well, now suddenly Polaris is looking like the better team.
It was all about patience for Polaris there, Mike. They just needed their BKB to be up on Natsumi, and they were good to go. With the spell immunity up, they just don't have the burst damage for Felina to deal with the troll, and they just clean up. Motivate.Trust, we've seen them in this position a couple of times, Mike. They win the laning phase, they get a bit hasty in one mid-game engagement, and they kind of lose the grip in the game. We'll see if they can hold back. They still have good scaling left for Gotcha Boy and for Jackie, but they've got to be careful.
Now Mavis, he's getting very aggressive, but Lelouch, he still has the double damage rune, so Fearless, he's just going to drop, and now Boom Booey is going to try and back off, but he can't either. Oh, Polaris, they're looking very online now. They'll go into that mid-tier 2 tower, and this is not going to take them very long whatsoever. There is nothing Motivate can do to defend this. Suddenly we have a 4K net worth advantage, and for Motivate, they are losing a lot of space in this map.
Yeah, it's all off the back of that Roche fight. Like, great. With the Desolator up, they felt confident that Jackie could clear it out fast enough. I don't think they killed enough heroes to really get that done, and they forced the fight rather than kind of stagger it out. Tried to split up the side of Polaris a bit more, and just kind of find the pickoffs they needed before the BKBs would fly up. Motivate.Trust now, they need some ways of catching up. They need some items up. Maybe the blink on Jackie helps with gap closing, jumping the front line, getting control before the BKBs fly in. That could be one way to kind of apply control. You can already see that jungle taken over.
No, Xavius. He's going to try and set up onto Masteros, but he gets stunned up himself, and they should be able to at least find a Nyx Assassin kill. Trying to buy a little bit of time with the Spine Carapace and Yule Scepter. In fact, now the re-jump in. Natsumi's here. He pops the Battle Trance immediately onto Fearless. Fearless will go for a run, but Lelouch is there to try and cut him off. And this Lina, well, he's running fast, but it's not looking great for him as the stun is going to be out, and they do get him. A 1-for-1. In fact, it might be more because Jackie is not out of the woods either. Force, he's got the RP available, and they should have plenty of control for the Wraith King. They might even just wait Natsumi to start burning the mana of Jackie first, and that is exactly what he does. This Diffusal Blade just making it hellish for Jackie to actually be able to use that Reincarnate. He can't get it off.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not just the Diffusal there, Mike. There's still the mana drain from Avis, the mana burn from our Nyx. There's so many ways of handling that Wraith King, and I think that's where the Wraith King pick just didn't instill too much confidence from the draft for me. It's just a tough game. Like, you're going to need it at that Ag Shards up, but there's so much more Jackie needs to have presence. He still needs to blink. He's probably going to need a BKB as well. It's going to take a lot of farm to hit those points. Wraith King can farm fast, but her map space has shrunk so much here.
Now Force, he's going to find Boom Booey. Lelouch going to join in, and that'll be a nice easy pick off into the Silencer. In the meantime, Natsumi, he'll take care of the top tier 2 tower, and Motivate, they still just don't have an answer. As bot lane, they found Masaros now trying to split push. He's going to get punished immediately by Polaris. And I suppose that was all there is to it. Just hit your item timings here for the Radiant, play defensively until then, and just win one big team fight. Ever since that Roshan, it just feels like Motivate, they've had no way back into this game.
It's down to a couple of factors for Motivate.Trust, Mike. Their initiation isn't amazing. It's mainly just rolling Thunder with a blink. It's not a wide piece of AoE control compared to, say, RP, compared to the blink skewer back. Their single target control is mainly on Wraith King. That's their most reliable stun, the Wraith Fire Blast. You could maybe argue that Light Strike Ray is there, but without yield setup, it's just not 100% reliable. Compare that to supports on Polaris. They've got Earth Spike, they've got Hex, they've got Impale, they've got Vendetta to scout around. There's so much more for Polaris to play the map, to find these pickoffs now. Whereas for Motivate.Trust, I think their best bet is counterfights. Bait in Polaris to try to make a play, be on point with your global silence usage, and use that silence window as your burst window. You know, that's the time where you can fight and kind of find your own kills.
Well, Aegis is going to expire now. A bit of an opening for Motivate to try and get something done. Well, Q right now being stalked by Xavius is not going to be very great for him, as you've also got Natsumi TPing up top. And that'll be another kill, this time onto the Dawnbreaker. So we'll see if he can find a way out, but it really is not. Natsumi taking his 10th kill of the game on the Troll Warlord, off the back of the setup there from Xavius. Motivate, all they can do is take the time to farm up the camps near the base. But that's really it. They've got no other play right now.
It's pretty choked out. You still need farm on a Wraith King and a Lina. And the issue with the Wraith King and Lina combination, the duo, is that both heroes kind of need items to scale. Like, most of the time we see the Lina mid become like the real pause one when you're safe links like a Razor, when it's something a bit slower like, say, a Leshrac, but the Wraith King doesn't become self-sufficient until much later on, so they're sharing farm in very limited space. They're playing together as 3 or 4, and Polaris just has all the control on the map. They know where they're playing because they're not showing anywhere else.
Mavis, he's going to jump in. Maybe baiting here as the rest of his team is making their way over and Motivate. Well, they're not going to take the bait. At least not yet. Xavius, though, oh, he's going to spot out Boom Booey and Masaros. This could be very bad for Motivate. In fact, now they found Fearless, but the Impale. Oh, he's completely whiffed it. Silence is out there, but they got the RP off Force. He had the Guardian Griefs to purge off that silence. Masaros, he'll just have to roll out. They've got to accept the fact that this Lina is gone for 45. As the immediate TP's now towards the Dire Outpost, they've spotted another. Lelouch's got that Ancient Black Dragon. They saw Jackie, but he's going to be able to run to that tree line and at least try to survive for a little bit. In the meantime, though, Masaros, he's going to be caught out on the Pango. And this might just be another kill out for the side of Polaris. They've got him. Lelouch will take it. Motivate. They're trying everything they can to just push out these lanes, but they are paying every single time.
There's just not much room for them to go around. They do at least have one big item coming through here. Q does have the Ags up on that Dawnbreaker, so the Solar Guardian upgrades there, a bit of a better heal. Combine that with the Holy Locket, feels great. You've got Evasion to deal with the troll as well. So you can kind of force better counter fights. If you see the RP committed, you can just play a mile away on the Dawnbreaker, get the Solar Guardian off to break that combination, have the Global Silence come in as well. And that's the two tools for Motivate.Trust to kind of fight back. They're relying a lot on these big support ults to turn things around. They will smoke.
Polaris. Immediately already... I'm sorry?
Did I disconnect?
Oh, I was wondering why you went so quiet, John. You did disconnect for a second, but you are back. Motivate.Trust. Oh, they're going to have their smoke broken by Xavius. Masseros, though, he went for the swash, and again, the skewer is there from Force. Another piece of punish. It's Polaris, they're looking for a bit more, but they won't overextend for it. You might just wait out this next Roshan. It's only a minute 40 away. Motivate.Trust, I mean, you know they can't fight back if you do go into the Roshan pit, but never mind that. Lelouch, he wants to go for the fight right now. Boombui, he might just be caught. Onto the silencer they go, and that'll be another. No problems. In fact, Fearless is barely going to be able to get his way out. But they still find two. And again, I think they might be able to pressure at least the T3 tower.
And for Motivate, again, they rely on their supports to really build up here. They need a good Solar Guardian with Global Silence to break off Polaris' initiation. It's been a tough game for Boombell and for Q to figure out that right use. The BKBs make it complicated for the Silencer to figure out when it's safe to Global Silence. The Dispels on Force means that RP is almost always available with that Guardian Greaves up. And Motivate.Trust are still farm-starved on a Wraith King Lina. They're 3k behind each, behind the DK. Not a good sign. These heroes need itemization. They need to at least equal footing to be able to get their hits off. It's still a ways off. They will smoke up once more in Motivate.Trust, though. All their spells up. They just need to find that one hero to kill.
Yeah. Well, Xavius has already broken the smoke, though. They'll get a Sentry Ward down, but this is not the kill you really want. They can't even see him right now. Well, now they can with the Observer Ward out, but Xavius, a very quick spike Carapace. They'll get in with the Rolling Thunder. They are trying so hard to burst down this Nyx. Force now, skewer away on Jackie. Maybe they can at least take down this Magnus, but not quite yet. Natsumi, though, he's been stunned up. Solar Guardian going to be there, but he'll get to work. In the meantime, Fearless, he's already dropped on the Lina, but they'll commit buybacks. But you've got Jackie, who has dropped his first life. He's got the shards up now, though. He doesn't need the mana, but he does need to run. So he cannot take the damage that is flying out from this Troll Warlord, as they've got him once again. They'll take him down, no problem. There'll be no buyback on Jackie. Roshan up, double damage rune spawning up as well, as is tradition. But never mind all that, John. They're going to make the jump in for the Dawnbreaker. They just won't commit though. Like, never mind him. Onto Masseros we go. Why not a Pangolier instead?
And for Motivate.Trust, the defense is nearly impossible. No Solar Guardian, no Global Silence, just no way to break that team fight off from Polaris. And Polaris can just clean up. They take the mid racks, they're going to go for top next. They could play it safe, pull back for the Roche, and go again. I think they have enough to actually just go tier force right after.
A very impressive performance so far from Polaris. And the name changes again just coming into effect, it seems, as these teams, at least Polaris, have just looked so good ever since they changed their names. Especially Lelouch. I mean, he's just been looking fantastic on this DK. We saw yesterday on his Leshrac just destroying people all day.
Yeah, it's just been on point. You know, reinvigorated the side of Polaris. We had a little chat last time with Natsumi. He said that he couldn't figure out one, but he's already got a pretty weeby name. So anime powers online for Polaris. Motivate.Trust again, smoke broken by Xavius. They just can't find the angle. This Nyx is way too pesky with that Vendetta. And now the Roche is starting. DD up on Natsumi's, you called out, Mike. Roche, it's already dead.
It is already dead, John. Shards up as well. Natsumi, he'll hand that over to Lelouch. Very nice. Now you're in real dire straits here as Motivate. I mean, Aegis, the enemy team, they're 21k ahead. DD Rune's still up for Natsumi, so that's a real big problem. He's hitting very hard right now. So they are going to make their move in. They're going to find Boombui on that silencer. No real great way out for him either. He'll get slowed up, and just one hit from Natsumi will get the job done. Like, they'd love to find a bit more, but the TPs are already out. Fearless and Jackie just hide in the tree line and just wait out patiently. In fact, I think Jackie might stick around to try and creep skip. No, he's going for TP back as well.
And Motivate.Trust, one last set of racks here. They have to deal with multiple lives on Troll. He's nearly impossible to kill off with a Battle Trance, with a BKB, with a Satanic. He just has so much durability, and I don't think the burst damage of Motivate.Trust can keep up. Last set of racks is going to fall. No buybacks on the respawning heroes, but they're going to be up shortly, and they just called a GG. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I mean, rather anticlimactic way to end, but I suppose Polaris just looking way too strong this game, and Motivate.Trust, I mean, they were just never in the game, it felt like. I mean, laning stage went okay, but after that, it was just very defensive play from Polaris, just that really paid off, because Motivate could just never capitalize off their lead.
Yeah, I think it boiled down to the supports in this game. Like, you see a Nyx, you see a Line, you expect activity, you expect great scouting potential with Vendetta, you have good burst, good control. Whereas for Motivate.Trust, Silencer and Dawnbreaker, not much stuns. Your follow-up stuns in your cores, Rolling Thunder, Light Strike Array aren't reliable. You only really had one spell to play with to lock one hero down.
Yep.
That was Great Fire Blast. AoE control wasn't there for Motivate.Trust. Their best angle was to counterfight. When you see the RP committed, just go for the Global Silence and Solar Guardian, but it's such a hard play to pull off, and I think Polaris, they just needed to hold out for those BKBs. Once it was up in Natsumi, they were ready to go.
All right, well, with that, we are going to head off to a short 10-minute break, and right after that break, we'll be back with Game 2 between Polaris Esports and, of course, Motivate.Trust Gaming.